Well, GOP states coming to the rescue, more than a dozen sending National Guard and police assistance to the southern border, answering Texas Governor Greg Abbott's plea for help. Our next guest state is one of those offering support. Oklahoma Senator James Lankford has seen the crisis firsthand, and he joins us now. Senator, thanks so much for coming in today. It's good to see you. And I think last time I saw you, we were down in the Rio Grande Valley together, edge of the river, and they just made some pretty significant arrests down there. If we can pull up these photos right now, it's no longer just families, women, and children showing up down there, right? Take a look at this. Border Patrol and Texas DPS arrested a group of CDN cartel members. That's the Northeast Cartel, who came across to the U.S. side of the border near Fronton, Texas, down in the RGV. They were armed. They had rifles with them. You'll see some of those rifles. That's a trail camera. That's on the U.S. side of the border. You can see that man is armed with a rifle. So, Senator, your reaction to these images? We now have armed cartel members crossing over to the U.S. side, and those are only the ones we caught.
Yeah, what people don't understand is the area just south of our border, all the way along, those states in Mexico are level 4 countries from the State Department. Now, people may not know what that means. You have level 1 countries to travel to, like Canada. Level 4 is like Yemen and Syria. The states in northern Mexico, the State Department declares those are no travel zones for Americans because they're so violent and they're so out of control. My push for years has been, if we don't deal with what's happening on the immigration side, that violence is going to trickle over. The Border Patrol now tells me they're experiencing more and more armed individuals coming into the United States, escorting people. They're very concerned about armed violence spilling over from the south side of the border to the north. In addition, just to the type of person that's coming in, we're getting more and more non-Spanish speakers that are coming in from all over the world.
It's incredible. Let's do call for number one, just to set the stage here. This is Southwest border encounters year to date, 1.4 million. That's 10% over what it was the year before. And so the White House is saying that they've got it under control, that there is no border crisis. The New York Post editorial board on Sunday, this is what they said, that Biden's lying. The migrant crisis is nowhere near over.
No.
And so how do you deal with that as a senator when the White House, and Mayorkas in particular, he's very stubborn? And he just holds his ground and says everything's fine.
So I'm on the Border Management Subcommittee. I'm the ranking member there, so I go to the border often. It's one of the things that I try to do is to be able to elevate and show people, here's what's really happening. I went down early on in the Biden administration and actually took cell phone video to be able to show the chaos there when no other media would show it. When I'm down at the border, I try to expose, here's what's happening, and give firsthand information back to the American people, to people in Oklahoma and my state, but also back to Ali Mayorkas as well. When I was down there last time, just 2 weeks ago, in the Tucson and Nogales area in Arizona, the statement that came out from the Border Patrol was, listen, these are folks that are non-Spanish speakers that are coming across. They're from Russia, they're from Mauritania, they're from Pakistan, they're from the Middle East, they're from China. These are areas where they're, as their term is, adult age, military age men that are coming across. We have no ID. We have no way to be able to know anything about them. They're being released into the country just like everyone else. We have no tracking on these individuals to be able to know where they're going in the country. This is a giant national security issue. And if we've learned nothing from 9/11, we have to be able to identify who's in our country.
And to that point, so far this year, almost 100 people on the FBI terror watch list arrested coming through our southern border. It's going to blow last year's record out of the water, which set the all-time record. So we're going to beat it this year. Why do you think it's so attractive for people on this watch list to come to our border right now?
Well, because it's open right now in many ways. So people will come across and be able to check in. They can make the magic statement, I have fear in my country, and they're released into the United States. What's worse than that is individuals that are on our terror watch list that are picked up, if they're identified, they're actually isolated and they're executed out of the country. So they're ushered out. But the individuals that are traveling with them, they're just released into the country. So you look at it and say, okay, the 3 other Russians that were traveling with this one Russian that we identified that's on our terror watch list, that one Russian we've actually arrested. The other 3 Russians traveling with him are somewhere in our country right now, and we have no idea where they are.
It's no wonder that immigration is one of the top 2 issues of concern for voters in the country.
It's a big issue, not only for drugs, not only for jobs, but also for national security issue. And people are not focusing on this, but it's a very big issue.
And more than 1.5 million known gotaways since the beginning of fiscal year 2021.
Incredible.
It's great.
Senator Lankford, I'm glad you're in town. Thank you. Thanks for coming by.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yep.